All right.
All
Well,
right, David. How are you doing today?
I am well. How about you?
I'm doing spectacular.
So, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the DAT Guys, where we keep our hands on the pulse of the nation. I'm Daniel McCarthy with Stronger by the Mile, and we have Mr. TRC, the Trucking Review Channel. Thanks for sitting here again with us today.
You're welcome. Anytime, Daniel.
Um, Today we're going to take a look, I guess, we're going to start out by looking at reefer rates and then move to dry van rates and see how the nation is doing in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Daniel, I've been watching this all day, and it has been a very interesting ride as far as freight volumes. I'm just going to paraphrase this a little bit. We're not going to spend as much time on the actual numbers because we all know numbers are sinking spectacularly, right?
Right.
So I'm going to run over the reefer rates, all right? Or not the rates, but the volume. And then I'm going to read an article that Datboard put out this morning.
Sounds good to me.
Alabama is 283 in and 49 out. Arizona, 360 in, 247 out. That's not terrible, right?
Right.
Arkansas, 332 in, 38 out. This is the chicken capital of the world, right?
Right.
All right. California is still looking good with 944 in and 1,104 out, but this is produce season, correct? Now, we're going to skip some states because they're just so pathetic, right? Colorado, Connecticut, D.C., Delaware. They're not even worth talking about. Don't go there. Just stay out of those states, right? Oh, Florida's abysmal. Oh, Georgia's at like 25%, right? 500 in, 275 out.
Now,
Iowa, 388 in, 84 out. We should probably touch on that PPP plan also somewhere in this video, Daniel.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Any particular states you want to look at? Illinois is looking good. It's about 50-50.
I was just about to bring up Illinois on that.
Yeah, it actually looks really good for Illinois. 50-50, 782 in, 711 out. Indiana's terrible. Let's scan down to some good states, right? Ohio is 561 loads in, 325 out.
Oregon is actually doing better than what I thought it would. Right now, I'm showing 284 in and 223 out.
Yeah, that is correct. But not bad at all for Oregon. It's still around the central, and a lot of people are trying to stay away from there, right?
Yeah. Now California, not to backtrack, but that's looking actually pretty good compared to what it was at.
Yeah, but California is going to keep up a running average with reefer freight, right?
Right.
So that's looking at the reefer market, and it's not good. Let's flip over to dry vans, okay?
Wow. California. I'm jumping ahead. Alaska right now, I'm showing 253 in and 3 out. That's pretty typical. Alabama has 1,081 going in, 258 coming out. Arizona 736 in, 422 out. Arkansas has 938 going in, 205 coming out. Look at California.
Yeah, are you looking at California for van loads in California?
That's crazy.
That is really spectacular. I mean, that is. In any market, California is looking good.
California is looking really good, and that's something that the reefer guys can take advantage of as well.
Yeah, they 100% could. Yeah, that's a strong market. Is California right now? Oh, Florida, bad. No, I'm not. Illinois is still looking strong over here.
Illinois looks good.
Yeah.
23.88 going in and 22.21 coming out. I mean, that's almost.
I'm just going to skip over all these states that's bad right now. I mean, Ohio is still a third, right? I mean, it's 18.89 in and 11.80 out, which still is not a strong market compared to other markets, compared to California, right?
Right.
But in this time, wow, look how bad Texas is. It's another 50 state. 3,000 loads in and 1,500 out. Wow.
Wow.
But anyway, we know what's going on. We know that this is just Corona Central, right? All over the place. And when you have these kind of loads out, let me switch over to a DAT article that I was reading this morning.
Okay.
And I thought it was really good. It says, now this is dealing with reefer carriers, but they put out the same article. Well, it wasn't the exact same article, right? The day before on dry van volumes. But this is about reefer volumes. Okay, reefer carriers are feeling the pain of coronavirus-related closures as volumes and rates declined sharply for reefer equipment in the past 2 weeks. Restaurants and cafeterias are closed nationwide, with some expectations for takeout and drive-up services. Shutdown of commercial food services locations, including schools and universities, airports, and big segments of refrigerated shippers and their freight, even as grocery stores continue to replenish inventory at an accelerated pace. Schedules are scrambled and routes are disrupted. Now you understand exactly what that's saying and they're going to say this later in this article, that even though there is a lot of freight, it's not the exact freight that other people have stepped into the market to fill a niche, right?
Right.
Okay, so that would usually create a favorable condition for spot market participants. But the absence of all that food service cargo means that there's a huge number of shippers and consignees that are inactive. The carriers who serve those customers are now looking for new loads. So there are more trucks available to haul for supermarkets and big box stores. Of course, the competition drives rates down. Now, rates are not going up. Rates are falling in a huge way, okay? Lucky for reefer carriers, there are still some markets where conditions are improving and rates may start to rise soon. That's because more fresh produce is coming into season. California, right? Just as other refrigerated foods are still being resupplied to grocery stores at a more normal cadence. All right, and then they have a map here, which tells you your hot lanes, actually, right? Produce season bolsters rates to some degree. Now, this is where it gets interesting. But for now, lane rates are trending down all over the country. Of the top 78 high-volume reefer lanes that Datboard tracks every week, only one got a rate increase last week. This is last week, okay, compared to the week before. Denver to Houston rose 3 cents last week to $1.87. $1.87 is not going to excite a lot of spot market customers, right?
No, it's not.
No. There are more hot markets last week for reefers than for vans. McAllen, Texas to Miami, where the two standards with high load post and truck searches by brokers and high load to truck ratios. McAllen is actually one of the very hot spots, right? McAllen and Brownsville area.
Yep, I used to go there a lot.
Yep. It was 10.1 and Miami was a 7.1. Remember, the national average was a 2.6. So those ratios are pretty high, and they are very high. Okay, loads are plenty. Now, here's the kicker, Daniel. There's loads are plentiful in some markets, but rates are still slipping. Now, why are they slipping? Because other trucks are flooding into the reefer market.
Right.
They're saying, hey, I can haul a reefer, right? So there's still plenty of reefer freight to be found in Mexico border markets of McAllen and Tucson. But rates dropped lower last week. We're talking about a lot of the same lanes where rates dropped 2 weeks ago, and they fell again last week,
Yep.
and they fell some more. They're still falling right now as we make this video. Okay, Tucson to Los Angeles dropped 26 cents. The average load was $2.18 a mile, which is, I would be happy with that, right?
Right.
But the volume of truckers flooding into the market, we are our own worst enemy in this market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So rates are declining in double digits from Tucson to Dallas to New York and to Chicago. McAllen, Texas to Atlanta lost 29 cents.
That's big.
Yeah, it dropped 20 cents the previous week. So lane rates also dropped from McAllen to New Jersey. Twin Falls, Idaho, potatoes, right? To Phoenix, lost 26 cents. Miami to Elizabeth, New Jersey has dropped another 18 cents to $1.72 per mile on average. This is a big thing. This is a real big thing. I mean, in our market, we talk a lot about brokers, but really, we can harp on brokers all day. The fact that we are a competitive market after deregulation is what drives the market, is our own competitiveness.
Yep. That's one thing I tell a lot of people not to do, that shoots themselves in the foot, is they'll get on social media and they post what they're pulling loads for. And they post that, say they got $2.30 a mile on a load, and there's a guy out there looking at this that's in the same market, and he's like, you know what, I could do that load for $1.80 and make just as much money as this other guy because I've got lower overhead. And
we're having a huge amount of load cancellations also. Have you noticed that in the market?
I have.
And now let's slip over to the trucker. They have an article on here that I find very interesting, because as we're keeping our hands on the pulse of a nation, I find that contractual freight is definitely going to lead the way in a wave of the future, right? I mean, spot market freight is great. Everyone, thinks that that's the place to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when mega carriers come in and acquire contractual freight, where does spot market freight come from? It's the overload from the contract carriers. That's all it is. So I seen this article on the trucker, and I'm a big friend with the trucker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're a good website. Now, this is the trucking industry leaders named to the White House Economic Revival Group. Now, Daniel, I did not send you this in advance, but let me read you the names of some of these companies, okay?
Okay.
FedEx, UPS, JB Hunt, YRC. The AMA is named in here. I'm not a big fan of the AMA, or am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
No, the ATA, right?
ATA.
American Truckers Association.
The AMA, that's the American Motorcycle Association.
Right. I got my mind on two wheels, Daniel. But I don't see anybody representing the owner-operators, the spot market runners of the world in this situation.
Yep, I would like to see OIDA get involved in that.
I would really like to see OIDA get involved in it. I know OIDA is not the powerhouse that they used to be, but I think this is important. But let me read you this article. It says, President Trump has announced a group of executive economists, scholars, and industrial leaders brought together who will form various great American economic revival industry group. I mean, it don't sound good to me, all right? Among transportation leaders named in this group is the American Trucking Association President Chris Spear. The initiative is convening a bipartisan group of industry leaders from across all sectors of the U.S. economy. Are we named in there, Daniel? These groups will work with the White House to chart the path forward for the economy to rebound from the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's see. I am honored to serve as president of the nation in this capacity, representing the trucking industry and joining for ATA members, companies, and CEOs to bridge the crisis to a safe and speedy full recovery, said Spears, just as they have during the mitigation and response effort. Truckers will be at the forefront as we receive economic engines and get our country moving again. No industry will be more vital. We embrace the opportunity to play a leading role in a national effort. Now, my thoughts about this, Daniel, are really scary, because we have talked, you and I, about the number of bankruptcies that are going to be incurred due to this downturn, correct?
There's going to be a ton of bankruptcies that come out of this.
Now, I'm not a numbers guy. Well, I kind of am, but I can't wrap my head around the number of bankruptcies that are going to be incurred through this. And it's scary, because I know that the economic, they call them the leaders in our economy, these mega carriers, but they're only about 23% of our whole, right? I mean, small business is the actual carry the mother load. But what are we looking at? Let's say 50% of owner-operators go out of business. Will these mega carriers step in and turn all that freight into contractual freight? And if they do, what will happen to the spot market in the long run?
I think they will absolutely step in and take up a big portion of it. They're definitely going to have the driving force to fill the trucks. These truck drivers that are going to be shutting down their businesses, or if they do go into bankruptcy, they're going to need a job. And they've got a Class A CDL. So they could absolutely step in and pick up a huge chunk of the spark market and make it a contractual freight. A lot of the spot market, like you were saying, is loads that either overflow from the mega carriers and stuff like that, so they can step in and pick that up.
I think that this could change the face of trucking as we know it.
I think it could not just the face of trucking, but I think it's going to change a lot of the back office as well.
Yes, definitely. It will. Oh, I'm over here on the Truck Boss Show today. And have you ever checked out the Truck Boss Show?
I have a couple times. I haven't looked at it in the last couple days. Man, I've just been hammering out miles like crazy. I'm on a tight delivery schedule with 3 drops, taking me all the way across the country again.
And you're in the middle of nowhere, aren't you? Where are you at today, Daniel?
As a truck driver, it all blurs together. Wells, Nevada tonight.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, I have switched over to Freightways.
Awesome website.
Yes, I have brought up. There was several things on here that interested me today. Okay, I noticed that PAM Transportation looks outside of network to replace lost freight. So once again, we're talking about a mega carrier, and where are they going to replace lost freight at?
They're going to step into the spot market. I know a lot of big companies are hauling spot market freight now.
Now, do you think that they're just hauling spot market freight, or do you think maybe they're making contractual bids on freight that normally would have stayed contractual freight or spot market freight that they wasn't hauling before, didn't care about, and now all of a sudden they're going to suck it up, right?
I think they're doing both. I think they're hauling spot market freight, and if they can turn it into a contract, they're absolutely going after it. Because if I was in that situation, that position with the trucking company, I'd absolutely do that.
I certainly would too. Let me scan down through here and see if there's anything else that we should talk about on this particular website.
I do have one article I want to just kind of touch on by comonews.com about Boeing.
Let me bring it up. What is that?
Como News, K-O-M-O News.com.
K-O-M?
O-N-E-W-S.com.
Okay, I see Como News. Okay.
Yep. They released an article today. I shared on your Facebook group. Seattle. This is in regards to Boeing. Released a thing today that the Boeing company announced Thursday will resume all commercial airplane production in phased approach at its Puget Sound area facilities next week, after suspending operations last month in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. They're going to put about 27,000 people in the Puget Sound area that will return to production on the 747, the 767, the 777, and the 787 programs. In addition, the 737 program will resume working toward restarting production of the 737 MAX, is what the Boeing official said. Work at the Boeing 787 plant in South Carolina remains suspended for this time. It's a very good read if you're into the open deck market and you haul aircraft parts and stuff like that.
Daniel, I can't believe you just sprung that on me. That's like out of the blue in left field. That means that I can go back to work.
I did. I was looking through it as you were talking, and I was like, you know what? This is something that needs to be brought up because it's a very positive thing in the current market situation that we're in.
Okay, what was the name of that article? Because I'm on their website.
Boeing to restart commercial airplane production.
Oh, there it is, right there. That's spectacular, Daniel. I'm going back to work. I'm so happy.
You've been on vacation for a while.
I have been, but I've been watching this pandemic as it rolls out, and even if this starts back up, it's going to be slow.
It will.
I mean, I'll take what I can get, but I have noticed that the numbers are starting to flatline on the top, and they're not climbing like they was. They're flatlining, so there will be a downtrend in the future. Our future, right?
Right. Hopefully this will be a good stepping stone to get back to somewhat of a normalcy within the freight market.
Well, it definitely will be with Boeing because they employ like 5,000 or 5 million people, I believe, and they're offset economy. I mean, it's the economy that runs around Boeing, right?
Right.
But they're the biggest producer of anything around.
They have a huge influence in materials and all kinds of stuff. So with them being back up in operation, it's going to kind of kickstart other areas of the trucking industry.
Yeah, it definitely will. Oh, that's really great. Oh, I see they got a picture of a 737 right there. That's my plane. That's great, Daniel. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it's a good read, guys. Go check it out. It's at comonews.com, K-O-M-O news.com.
I will put the link in the description. Matter of fact, I will put the link to all of this in the description. Is there anything you want to finish up with this, Daniel?
Yeah, as always, guys, you can check out the DAT load board for 30 days. On DAT's dime. Check it out. Stay up to date. Keep your hands on the pulse of America so you know what markets to go to and what markets to stay out of. If you don't have a platform to find the good loads, you need to get DAT. Give it a shot.
Matter of fact, Daniel, I was actually reading a Sonar article today, and I could not believe how different it was than the DAT articles. I'm not going to say they were wrong, but I couldn't believe the difference. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't. How do I say it without being offensive? Realistic? It was not realistic.
Wow.
At all. But anyway, I will talk to you later, Daniel. You have a spectacular day.
That works. Thanks, man.
Hey, remember, be safe, be profitable, and be happy.
And I'll see you guys on the next episode with the Trucking Review channel of the Deck Guys.